Happy day. Oh goodness, this thing is out of control today. All right, there we go. All right, happy day, my fabulous peeps. Let's get on in here as we are continuing talking about the next level of our financial house, the next level of our financial house, right? Making sure that we are building our financial house right and tight, needless to say. So we are going to get into this shortly. Just come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Let's get into it as we talk about building our financial house right and tight, and specifically as it relates to estate planning. So I want to talk about that. That is one of the levels to building your financial house right and tight. Right is definitely your estate planning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad that you are in here as we're talking about building your financial house right and tight, right? Because one thing about it is that when we understand the financial game and we understand what things we need to put in place, then when life happens, right, you can continue to maintain your lifestyle as best as you can with your for your family, but you also put yourself in a situation where you are building resilience, right? Because when life is life and right, and those unexpected things happen, are you in a position to continue to maintain your lifestyle and making sure that your wishes, your plan, your family is taken care of, and yourself, whether you are single or married. So I'm so glad that you are here and getting into the room as we talk about one of the levels as it relates to building your financial house right and tight, right? Because one thing about it is being a licensed financial coach, I do everything from the room to the tomb. And what I realize in this industry is that we know about some things, we don't know about a lot of things. We get taught, we get caught instead of getting taught, right? So I'm about the business to make sure that your financial house is built right and tight. Thank you so much for the love, no matter where you are in your life, right? Because there are 9 levels. So I just want to recap. Thank you for the love. I just want to recap as it relates to what are those 9 levels you need to have when it comes to building your financial house right and tight, because there are 9 simple level. Okay. And I'm going to talk about, yesterday I talked about the foundation, which is income protection. Today I'm going to talk about the roof part, okay? And that is protecting everything that is in the house, right? And then we're going to go specifically what's in the house, because one thing about it, being a licensed financial rep, I do understand the importance of that we need money, right? And that's why I always talk about too about having a business. It is so essential because you cannot put your trust and your dependency in somebody else. Right, you have to be in control. That's one of the main things when it comes to your financial house, is that you are in control and you're not depending on somebody else, right? And so I just want to review what those 9 levels are as it relates to the financial house. What are the rooms you need to have? What are the sections? All right. So the first thing is for the foundation, right? In any home, there needs to be a foundation. The Word of God talks about that all the time. It's important that you built your house on a solid rock. You are building your finances on a solid rock, on a solid foundation. As I shared with you yesterday, that is income protection. Okay. Hashtag life insurance, right? I shared with you my story about, last year, this time, our family was in a total daze of shock because unexpectedly I lost my only sibling, right? My brother, he was 52 years young. Then 7 weeks after that, I lost my father, all unexpectedly. So you could imagine it truly would have rocked our financial house if things were not in order, right? It truly, honestly. And if it was not for that, and also having God's wisdom in helping us to guide through, and just having people praying for us during that season and continue to pray for us in the process. It'd be totally different. That's why I talk about this site, that you make sure you join my email list. I did put it in in the chat. If I didn't put it in the chat, I put it in the description for my YouTube people, but for my Instagram TikTok, hello, not Instagram. For my TikTok, I want to make sure I put that link in there so you can be on my email list. Okay, you want to be on, join my email list. So let me go ahead and put that in there. Don't go nowhere. I'm just pulling it up. I am pulling it up as we speak as well. I want to make sure you have that in place. Life Financial Resilient. Life Financial Resilient. I'm bringing that up right now as we speak, so you can go ahead and get a copy of that. Thanks for your patience. Here you go. So I'm putting the link in the description, and you will also see that link in my description, is in my bio as well. Life Financial Resilient, not resistance. we're resisting the enemy. Let me put that in there. Today, they want to, it's coming in there. All right, while I'm trying to figure out this to get it to do the pacing. And so let me just go ahead and continue as it relates to your financial house and what we, as I said, yesterday I talked about your foundation, which is life insurance. And so today, and I'm not even going over specifically, I shared with that yesterday, and I'll go a little bit deeper on another once I go through all of it, the different types or whatever. But I always talk about whatever is going to give you the most bang for your buck, right? Especially when you are starting out, because other whole life, others, you do need to have a little bit more, and I know there's some different benefits on them, but when you don't have nothing, you got to start with where you are. Okay, you have to start with where you are in the process. So that's why I talk about that. And I also talk about too, that when I'm doing my clients, one of the things I make sure as well is that I am also putting them in an investment. Okay, so no matter what stage of life, they're not just good, but they can be great, right? So heaven forbid they die too soon, they're protected. If they live long, they need money. Okay, they need money, right? That money that can continue to grow, because money needs to be working for you just as hard as you are working for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in the chat and then get into what the levels are. Oh boy, here we go, live. I hope everyone had a good day. My office today was on the beach. Isn't that wonderful? I love it. Today with the with the kids, with the kids and grandma. We had a great time at the beach, and now it's time to put the word out here, right, as it relates to. And I'll go ahead, as I said, you'll find the link in my bio, lifefinancialresilient.com. Life Financial Resilient. You want to join in on my email list. I don't know why today it's not allowing me to put the link. Oh, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you all being here in the room, joining me. You could have been any place else, and you decided to join me today. So it's truly a great blessing that you are here with me as I navigate and just sharing some insights with you as it relates to making sure your financial house is built right and tight. Because what I realized, being of the distinguished age of 50, yes, 50, actually, I'm not even 50, I'm 52, that we do not get taught financial literacy, we get caught. And I really get upset when I see families having to do GoFundMe's, Fish Fries, all these other things, as noble as they are, to help a family out because things were not in place, right? The financial house was not built either at all or very little, and not enough things were in place. And this is the thing I want people to capture. You don't need to have a whole lot of money to start. You just need to start with where you are. You need to start with where you are. That's why I talk about what you need in order to make sure that your financial house is built right and tight. So I'm going to just go over the 9 levels, right? And then I'm going to specifically talk about this level number 2, right? This part 2, because yesterday I talked about the foundation, which is income protection, right? Hashtag life insurance. Your greatest asset is your income, by the way. And today I'm going to talk about the estate planning. Okay. And so just a quick review as far as your financial house is concerned. First thing is your foundation, right? Which is life insurance. The second thing is estate planning. I'm going to talk about that in a second, a little more detail. The third is the budget. What's coming in, what's coming out. I know sometimes we don't want to hear that B word because we feel like we're constrained, but actually you are in control because now you're not haphazardly. You really know what's coming in and what things need to be in place. Where does your money need to be assigned to? Your dollar needs to be assigned to. That's why I love, and I can't wait for you to this. It's coming up. So I'm working on it right now so you can understand what zero-based budgeting is, what that means. That every money that comes into your hand, it is assigned a task. This is how important it is, right? So you understand what this budget. Number 4, the number 4 is your emergency fund. Okay. So just like I just had experience with, I'm needing 4 tires for one of our vehicles. 4. But guess what? I don't have to go for using a credit card debt or any of those of the things. I have to beg, borrow, plead to get those 4 tires to get me deeper in debt. That's such a wonderful and amazing feeling, right? Because we put things in place and making sure when those emergency does happen, right? We're not praying for emergencies, but emergencies do happen, that we're prepared. That's why I always started when you're single. Okay, how quickly can you save $1,000? Married, $2,000. How quickly can you get to that point? Then it's number 5, which is your short term. How is money working for you, right? What's your short term goals? What are some things you're trying to get to that your money is working for you just as hard as you are working for it? And then your long term goal, right? Where now money is not running out with you. Then your legacy is continuing thereafter. This is how important it is. And then for those of you that have children, grandchildren, right? Maybe nieces and nephews, and you want to make sure that they're good, they're good, right? You have custodial planning. That means you're setting up your loved ones, your young cherubs up right and tight sooner than later. Not waiting till they're an adult, not waiting till they're about to go to college or high school, right? You're starting right where they are. Blessings, blessings, blessings. You're starting right where they are as soon as young, right? You can start as from the time that they're born. But even if you hadn't start, once again, you start with where you are at the end of the day. But listen, right? So that is estate planning. Then you have right 8, your debt. How quickly can you pay off your debt, right? Because the debt is smoking out your house. That means when you have more debt going out, that means money is taking care of somebody else's financial house instead of yours. We're no longer trying to do that, right? So how quickly can you be able to pay off debt with proper planning and intentionality, right? And then it's number 9, because now we need to have money raining down on our house. We need to have raining down on our house because we need money for all these things. That's why I talk about how you put yourself in the position of having multiple streams of income so that when one thing is not doing well, there is still something that is in the pot that is still working, right? That still can generate you a income. That's why I talk about having a home based business. And I know some people are like, well, I don't know what business to start. We need to connect. All right, we need to connect. So that's why you want to go ahead and join in on my email list because there are so many exciting things that are happening. I'm working on a book, right? But I'm also working on the zero-based budget template, right? And how to have that working. Also help you to get to your financial goals sooner and later, and help you to also identify what business you need to do, right? What are your skill sets? What are your experiences that you can go ahead and start monetizing the things that you already have, what your interest is. And then maybe you're like, hey, Teacher Melody, I don't really have any interest, but I want to learn the money game. But how about not only just learning the money game, but how about earning while you are learning? So if that's you as well, and you're interested and you want to earn while you learn, right? You want to earn while you learn, because I'm also expanding in my industry as well. I'm always looking for individuals who desire to learn the money game, who wants time and financial freedom. They want to do it on their own terms, and in the process learn a skill set that they can help others, and in the process help themselves. So truly creating a win-win situation and helping people to build their financial house right in time, if you are looking to be able to be in a business where you can work from anywhere. Because for me, that's a big deal with my family. You know, I homeschool my children, also have a ministry in Jamaica that my father left for my family and I, my husband and our children and my mom, to continue on. So my plate is quite busy and filled. But one thing I realize, it's not busy. It's not busy where I cannot stop and do what I do and love to do, and that's help people to make sure their financial house is built right and tight, right? So they don't get caught. They can truly get taught this financial game. So let's get into what it is about estate planning. That means protecting what's inside of your home, and what things and what exactly is estate planning, right? So that's a will, a trust, a power of attorney. That means that you give somebody the right to make a decision on your behalf. If you have adult children, this is something that you want to put in place, right? Because if they're once they reach 18, you cannot speak on their behalf. You cannot help them, right? No matter if they are in dire need. Once they are of age, they make their own decision. If you have older parents and you're having to help navigate them, same thing, right? That power of attorney needs to be in place in the process. If you have children, right, heaven forbid something happens, who do you want to take care of your children? Do you want the state to decide who's going to take care of your children, or do you want to decide who is going to be adequate enough to take care of your children, and to make sure that whatever you put in place is going to get executed properly and you can truly trust them? What about making sure that whatever money that is left, right, having a trust? We about hearing about this, having a trust. Having a trust, right? Why not have that set up in place as well? But first, starting with the will and going from there, and then you have another part with, as it relates to estate planning, is a living will. I'm sure how many times we've go to the doctor and they ask that question, do you have a living will? And most of us always say no. We do not. But now you have an opportunity where you can now have an attorney in your back pocket that you can call on. They can do so many other things. How about if you're in the process of buying a house, and now this attorney can look over the contract for you? But this is the thing with estate planning. Once again, you do not need to have a whole lot of money to start. You just need to be able to start with this estate planning. Now you're putting things in perspective of your wishes, your desires, and not allowing the state. Now you're not having to go through probate and all those things that's going to take away from your family's money, because now you have to spend all this money on attorney, on lawyers and all this, which can be very, very costly in the process. So I love the fact, and I'm not telling you something what I don't have, right? I do also have legal protection because of just the unexpected, right? Just in case. There's a lot of just in case, but there's so many things that you can ask an attorney with. But as I said, a will, a trust, a power of attorney, those are part of the estate planning, where now you're protecting what you have in your financial house, right? And even outside of financial house, right? You can be able to now consult with an attorney that's going to help you to make decisions, look over contracts and other things. Because one thing about it is that when you have to quickly get an attorney, right, it can cost you thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. And when you can have something already in place, it's going to save on it. This is the other thing. When it comes to estate planning too, and you are single, here's a tip. So your family does not have to go through any type of probate or whatever the case may be. You want to set up your different accounts. You want to set up your assets, right? Your bank accounts, whatever, as a TOD. If you don't know what TOD is, it's transfer of death. That means that heaven forbid something happens to you, and you are single now. It can now the person that you trust or love, they can go ahead and access the account, right? This allows them not to have to go through any type of legal ramifications or anything like that, which saves thousands of dollars of money. All right. So this is your bank accounts. Other type of accounts, you can do what is called, once again, TOD. TOD, transfer of death. Now, this is how I set up my clients who are single as a TOD, right? So, because I've had too many. I had a client whose father had passed. She thought she was on the account, and come to find out she was not, and that there was still money left in the account that she can be able to access to continue her life, and what have you. And she could not. The bank would not give her any information. It didn't matter what legal document that she had, birth certificate, all that, right? So now she's just gonna have to go through probate and the whole process, which costs money, some serious money to go through that process, right? And so, because that was not set up as a TOD, it was an expensive process, and so that's why I'm about making sure that you don't have to spend unnecessary money when you can start with, when you are in the right frame of mind, you can make a sound decision in the process. And when you make this sound decision, everybody wins, right? You're taking care of your families while, in heaven. Okay. And you're making sure that things are good, right? Despite the absence, right? Despite the emotional loss, right? There's not that financial loss, which is really devastating, right? Emotional loss is really devastation. Let me tell you something, right? The losing a loved one and having to continue life and be resilient can, I tell you, it is a struggle. But then on top of that, if you have a financial loss, I mean, the stress that it can add is truly devastating. But I tell you, it is, you could take a deep breath when you put things in place, when you set things in order. That's why I'm so keen and so important when it comes to building a financial house. That's why it's so important that you take the time and make sure, join my email list so I can send you the different information that I have for you and just get you to the next level to make sure that your financial house is built right and tight, in the process. Making sure your financial house is built right and tight. Well, I said, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, and understanding where you need to keep it, because money is a tool. Just as hard as you are working for it, it needs to be working for you. And when it's not working and it's just being spent building up somebody's else financial house, you lose. And it's not about you losing anymore. It's about you winning for the now and for the future in the process, right? Becoming wealthy does not start with when you have money. Let me say that again. Becoming wealthy does not start when you have money, because the money can come. And how many times you've heard people who've won the lottery and they end up being more broke than they were before, because they did not understand what to do with the money, right? That time everybody come asking, I'm cousin this, long dot glass cousin this, and they're right. They're buying all these things and what have you, and then kaput, that money is gone. Because let me tell you, money has wings. And I proved that when we had to go through foreclosure, bankruptcy, being sued, and having to start over. And now to a point where we don't have those things, right? Anymore. But I can tell you what, that season was very, very rough. It was rough, but it, guess what? Where there is life, where there is life, there is hope. So you can always come back from those difficult seasons. That's why when I hear people, and sometimes they get embarrassed when they're telling me, different things that they are and where they are in their finances and the credit card debt and all this, and they're like, I don't know what happened. I'm just like, life happened. Life happens. When you know better, you do better. When you don't know, you don't do better, right? Now, when you know and I show you and make it simple and easy, you're like, oh, okay. that's a that's creating a win-win, right? So I'm about creating win-win for clients and making sure no matter what the season is of their lives, that they are good, that they are good. Why? Because of what I've experienced, the losses that I experienced, the difficulties, the challenges. And I realize that the challenges that I've experienced had nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with where I am right now in this season. I can be on this live, talk to you, encourage you, and say, listen, it's not the end. It's not that it don't matter how far you've gone, right? How broke you think you already have. It's not the end. When there is life, there is hope. That means there's still something left in you, right? Whatever you experience, it's not a failure. It is experience, that lessons learned, experience gained. So it's for you to take what you've thought you were a failure, right? And take that and put it in perspective. Okay, what can I learn from this experience? What is it I could have done better? What is it that I need to change? Who do I need to reach out to? Right? Coaching is not a thing. Basketball players have a coaches have coaches. I have a coach, and it's not it's and it helps me for accountability, right? That's why I love when I get to connect with people, help to be accountable, because when you're accountable, you end up executing and doing what you're supposed to do, right? And it to come back even greater and better than you were before, because you made a decision to put things in perspective and not allow the disappointments, the what do you want to think are failure to stop you whatsoever. It's not going to stop you now. Why? Because once you made a decision, you have a made up mind. No matter where you are, right, you can continue forward and press forward, and God knows how to way to send the right people, the right resources, the right opportunities in your life, honestly, really and truly. And I've seen it more and more each and every day, because no matter what, God is always concerned, even the smallest of detail. I just have to share this quick story with you. So today, as I shared with you, um my friend and I, we went to the beach for a little bit, and so we're getting the stuff out the car, and I had my cup of water. And so in somewhere in transit, when we got to our spot at the beach, my straw fell out. I don't know where it fell out to, but it fell out. And so I'm like, oh well, I just close it because I can do another way that I can be able to close it. So my daughters and I, we go to the water. As we get to water, I'm playing and I see somebody waving, and she's waving, and at first I didn't know who it was. Sometimes you wave, you don't want to if they're waving at you, and then she's waving, and then I realized who it was, and I waved. And I'm like, oh my gosh, hey, how are you doing? And she has this sting in her hand, and she said, I saw when you all pulled up, my friend and I were in the restaurant eating. And she said, you dropped this. Guess what it was? It was the straw with my little cover on there. Who would have known that that little detail that somebody would have found, and that I know would have found that? And I was a bit taken aback, because what just reminded me that God always takes care, even the smallest of details. If it's a concern to you, it's a concern to God. And that somebody, and I was like, look at that, even the smallest of detail, God takes care of, right? When we may have a in that position to receive and not see things as a whoa, do it doom and gloom all the time, but always look at it with a perspective of hopefulness. And I was like, okay, if I find it, great. If I don't, then I can get another one. No life loss. But yet and still, she found us on the beach. She says, I was looking for you because I saw the way you entered. I was hoping I get to see you to give you your to give you your straw. Right? How cute was that? How and she found us. And she found us. So I say this to you, right? As you build your financial house, right? You put these 9 simple things in place. And I talked about the estate planning. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep learning, implementing right where you are. Join my email list, right? So you can know when I first start putting out some amazing things you want to get on the bandwagon, because that's going to be phenomenal, right? Helping you to make sure that your money is being assigned. And what that means, that every dollar that comes into it is being assigned to do something for you. Either it's assigned to build, bring you more income, where it's working, it's a tool, or it's assigned to pay down your debt, right? Or it's assigned to make sure that your family is being taken of, right? It's assigned something that's creating a win-win situation for you at the end of the day, right? We're about to enter into the second half of 2025. Let's have the second end of 2025 be truly amazing, right? Because you made a decision that where you are, that you're not going to end where you are, right? But you're going to make sure that the ending of 2025 is phenomenal, right? Because it starts here with the mind, and it starts with making a decision, because God said faith without works is dead. No matter what somebody else experiences, God has no respect of person, right? What is for you is for you, and who is for you, right? God knows how to send the right people, the right resources, the right opportunities into your life, and you just have to put yourself in the position to be ready to receive and work, right? Once again, because faith without works is dead, and you have to believe like your life depend on it. Don't be concerned with what anybody says, right? Because if God given you something to do, he's given it to you, period. He didn't ask you to ask for permission, right? He just asked you to have faith. And that's what I want you to have, faith, to make sure that your financial house is built right and tight. All right, my fabulous piece. So I'm so glad that you were here. Make sure you click in the description or in my bio. Join my email list as Life Financial Resilient, because it's about taking life's challenges, making sure your financial house is built right and tight, to make you to help you to be resilient. So no matter what come your way, that you're not good, but you are great. Going to another level. All right. So I can't wait to connect with you and see you in the next session. Bye, my fabulous peeps.